Oops. Hi, everybody. Of course I'm live. Of course I'm live and not sitting down, which is what you would expect. Come on, computer. Play with me here. Do, 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 do. We're gonna have a good time. I'm gonna read some stories. Where am I? I'm over off stage right now. I'll be there in just a second. Be there in just un momento. There we go. We all had a good day. I had a good day today. I'm having a good day here. Let me get in front of my my fabric that's in this little notch. As I fix things, I hope everyone's having a good day. Are you having a good day? I'm having a good day. I had a great day with Tom Merritt and Sarah Lane and Patrick Beja on DTNS just a little while ago. So when that's published, probably right now already, because they're quick like that, and you're getting your daily tech news, you'll see me or hear me on there talking about coronavirus, COVID-19. Yeah, fun stuff. We're having a good day. This is my, speaking of COVID, New York City. This is my Zabar's mug from Zabar's Delicatessen in New York City. Let's see. I don't see any comments there in the comment thread. Is there any? Are you there? I'm going to read today. I think I'm live. I would like to be live. Yeah, maybe 3 o'clock isn't really the time of day to be doing this, huh? Or maybe it is. I have so many devices going right now. You have no idea. Oh, apparently I'm broadcasting live. That's good. This is good. Double checking is working. There we go. I see myself. I'm talking to myself here. All right. Look at this. We're going to get meta. I'm going to turn up the volume. We're going to get meta. Oh, and my volume is good. Look at me double checking using technologies. So today we're going to start reading from my grandfather's book. I told you yesterday I'm going to do this at 3 o'clock every day until we get through it. So we're going to start Nowhere Except San Francisco, Memoirs of a Resident Tourist by Tro Harper. We're going to start with City of Surprises, a preface. You hear the music in the background? I don't know if you hear the music in the background. My husband is upstairs listening to music. It's a nice little noise and the buzz in the back. San Francisco is not a place where it is happening. San Francisco is a place where, a long time ago, everything that needed to happen happened. A plain case of been there, done that. Today, schlockmeisters sell t-shirts to belabor the point. Fortunately, I've been a part of this scene for going on 60 years now, so while a lot of the shine has suffered, some corrosion, and the hills are a bit steeper than they used to be, the everlasting invigorating joy of being a bit player in this sellout drama still stirs the blood and regenerates rewards unthinkable in any other environment. But I just want to reiterate, this was published in 1999 by my grandfather, who was a bookseller in San Francisco for several decades. So this is his adventures in San Francisco. It hasn't seemed so long, just been so long, that I have been an intimate part of San Francisco. You might even say I was immersed in its ever-changing culture, if that's what you call it. In other words, I know my way around. From 1946 until about 1996, my bookshop, Tro Harper Books, stood on the east side of Powell Street, obliquely across from Bernstein's Fish Grotto, a piscatorial oasis between O'Farrell and Ellis, remembered by thousands, not so much for the food, but for the storefront shaped like the prow of one of Columbus's ships. In the beginning, many a naysayer predicted dire consequences for anyone so rash as to try and sell books to the throngs on Powell Street. But contrary to popular beliefs, my intellectual five and dime did rather well. Once I got it figured out that the pedestrians swarming my sidewalk had little money but were able to scratch up enough for a paperback or two, my establishment thrived. It was the first store in San Francisco to stock all the paperbacks published. There are those who will contest this statement, but they are intellectual types and don't realize the tremendous number of sci-fi, westerns, and shoot-'em-ups that go to make a day's business. At 25 cents a pop, it took a load of sales to make a dent in the rent due each and every month. When fast-forwarding through the clicks of memory, certain incidents and people stand out like the 900,000 candle-power beams of the Pigeon Point Lighthouse. The people I ran into during my wanderings about the city are not famous, nor are they particularly distinguished, but they have given San Francisco all the fame it needs to be classed among the world's great metropolises. All by themselves, without fanfare or flourishes, they have made a city renowned around the world for cable cars, street corner flower stands, freshly caught crab boiling in sidewalk cauldrons, a Chinatown that's part of the shopping district, the tastiest sourdough bread you ever put a tooth into, and a city that holds birthday parties for its bridges. Where else but San Francisco? The tourists are enthralled. The residents, well, while they have become sort of blasé about the wonders of the area, are nonetheless enchanted every time they glance down a hill across the glittering waters of the most beautiful harbor in the world and smell the vigorous pungency of fresh roasting beans as they amble up Columbus Avenue past the Grafeo Coffee Company. Today, as in 1776 when Spanish explorers first saw the wondrous views, a tourist can stand on the cliffs at the Lincoln Park golf course and breathe much the same salty air, feel the bite of the same chill fog fresh off the ocean, and overlook the same glorious sight that stirred the spirits and souls of the ragtag group of soldiers who stood there in March of 1776. As early as 1532, Hernando Cortez had been ordered by the King of Spain to seek a natural port well north of New Spain where my navigators may find refuge, refit, and rest. Like many other obstacles in life, the finding was not all that easy, as it took 237 years before Don Gaspar de Portola, marching from Monterey, glimpsed the Gulf of the Farallones and the purpling coastline stretching north to Point Reyes. From then on, the Spaniards, like ants invading a country kitchen, popped up here and there, first in small bands from Monterey, then by small ships, again along the eastern shore by way of the Salinas and Santa Clara valleys. Spanish interest finally dwindled to a bored attention when, after beating their way for days through the tangled coyote bush and manzanita that covered the deep peninsula, Lieutenant Colonel Juan Batista de Anza and his party of 10 weary soldiers climbed a short rise, and there before them lay the great Bay of San Francisco. It was only a few short months before the signing of the Declaration of Independence in faraway Philadelphia. As they gazed out over the bay and its islands, everyone from the lowliest private in the rear rank to the brown-frocked Fray Pedro Font stood in wonder at the sight. Padre Font later wrote, "Indeed, although my travels," excuse me, in that quote, "Indeed, although in my travels I saw very good sights and beautiful country, I saw none which pleased me as much as this, and I think if it could be well settled like Europe, there would not be anything more beautiful, for it has all the conveniences desired, by land as well as by sea, with that harbor so remarkable and so spacious that in it may be established shipyards, docks, and anything else that may be wished. Fast forward 100 years, and it was so." Cities like LA or New York or even New Orleans have a press corps to sing their praises. These mercenary touts seek to gull prospective travelers into believing their bailiwicks are equal to or better than San Francisco. But San Francisco is not defenseless. San Francisco also has press agents. They're called tourists. They are really all the boosters the city needs. Otherwise, it would be very hard to struggle up Powell Street in August. San Francisco is a people-sized city where distances or tall piles of concrete do not overwhelm a visitor. It's a city where it's easy to watch the passing parade, the pedestrians on the sidewalks, the cable car riders, the tourist drivers from Texas, terrified they might have to stop on a hill and their brakes will fail. A marvelous sidebar attached to San Francisco is the exciting, exhilarating feeling of suspense that permeates the atmosphere the minute you step into almost any side street. There's a sense here that almost anything can happen. During a time that hasn't been so long, but just seems so long, I have lived the wonderful life of a resident tourist. I have walked through the Shakespeare Garden in Golden Gate Park, ridden cable cars up Powell and down Mason, rounded the coives on Nob Hill, desperately grabbing the handbars, afraid of falling off. At weddings and christenings at Grace Cathedral, I have entered through the huge bronze Ghiberti doors executed in Florence in the 15th century and copied for installation when the church was finally finished in the 1960s. Beneath the spectacle of the great rose window over the altar is a wedding, let me start that sentence over again. Beneath the spectacle of the great rose window over the altar, a wedding is an awesome thing. Funerals at Mission Dolores take on special grace when the realization that this sort of activity has been going on since 1776. On evenings in August, snuggled in a sheepskin jacket against the wind funneling through the Golden Gate, I have walked backwards along the seawall at Crissy Field, delighting in the cold, salty bite of the summer blasts, eddying up my pants legs. Golf games in the wind and fog at Lincoln Park are both aggravating and exhilarating. On a clear day, you can not only see forever, but also hear the throaty rumble of the traffic on the Golden Gate Bridge. You lose a lot of golf balls, too. Fine restaurants, among the best in the world, have wined me and dined me. The excitement of a goodbye to friends as they slipped away from the docks along the waterfront in years past, bound for a farther shore, is an experience not to be shunned and remembered for a lifetime. In the beginning, the people who now live here sailed in from Ireland, Germany, Armenia, France, Italy, and China. They rode the tides through the Golden Gate, jumped ship, and headed for the mines, hell-bent on riches beyond the dreams of avarice, as Samuel Johnson put it. Some came overland, driven by the lust for gold, experiencing firsthand the worst journey in the world. Others came to sell shovels and pickaxes, iron pans for washing gravel, the better to uncover nuggets. Some to start a new life. Each one had his own agenda, his own version of the Golden Fleece. Most of all, however, they sought release from the past, freedom from old-world customs and conventions. Building a world-famous metropolis was not a matter of any priority at all, yet they managed to invent an urban wonder unlike any other in the world, where the unusual is ordinary, where the unique is commonplace. I think that's pretty true about San Francisco, for sure. With almost no material resources, but with plenty of those classic traits of character that have built America, creativity, double toil, double trouble, they not only survived, they prospered. You can't buy character in a store, nor will you find creativity or energy on sale at Costco. Time after time, through 5 huge fires, ruinous financial crises, and an earthquake and fire that destroyed nearly all hope, San Franciscans have accepted whatever life delivered and survived. San Franciscans did whatever they had to do. These moments of spiritual and physical turbulence were enough to shake even the stoutest character. Yet these San Francisco Argonauts astounded the world, and probably themselves as well, as they went about being everyday people, being heroic almost every day. When you reminisce about San Francisco, you have to qualify yourself and ask, which San Francisco are you talking about? Wander into North Beach and signs in the windows speak Italian. In the spring, the butchers sell capretti, Italian for goat. The old duffers, retired from the Scavengers Protective Association, sunbake their stiff legs and arthritic backs on the benches in Washington Square, across the street from St. Peter and Paul Church, where Joe DiMaggio was confirmed, and some 40 years later posed on the steps of the church with his new bride, Marilyn Monroe. In Chinatown, the sights and sounds surround you, smother you in a culture almost as old as the earth itself. But today, instead of black-clad earth mothers, the street is filled with backward-worn baseball caps, baggy jeans, monstrous sweatshirts, and faces pierced with the latest fad seen on afternoon TV. Or you can motor out to the marina, where retired crab fishermen who used to mend their nets and paint their floats in their backyards now bet dimes on their ability to sink putts on the putting green back of Marina Junior High School. Near Mission Dolores, where you will find the best weather in San Francisco, the Latinos, or Hispanics, whichever you prefer to call them, it's an older generation, have taken over where the Irish used to dominate the saloons, politics, and baseball. Along 24th Street, you will scarcely ever hear a word of English. The same goes for Outer Clement Street, where all the businesses advertise in Vietnamese. At least, I think that's what it is. Very different orthography, to me at least. Which reminds me of the Russian churches in San Francisco. You spot them every so often as you drive around town, their gold leaf steeples flashing in the brilliant sunshine, lights so bright. European stained glass artisans must use deeper colored dyes when they work in San Francisco. Russians have an odd orthography too, called Cyrillic, I think, almost as peculiar to Western eyes as Chinese and Japanese. Out along Post Street, the Japanese have their own center, plus any number of small shops and restaurants surrounding it, enough to satisfy almost any taste. The Kinokuniya bookstore is stocked with both English and Japanese titles in such profusion one wonders how the management ever decided what books to stock. Sightseeing buses may be an excuse for travelers to while away an afternoon, but they simply won't do in San Francisco. As I remember, it was J.P. Kahn, longtime newsman, advertising genius, author, and one of the brightest men I ever knew, who inadvertently introduced me to the city. As I languished and bemoaned the absence of customers in the early days of my first bookstore venture, J.P. dropped in one afternoon on his way up Powell Street to his rooms at the Press Club. As I remember, his advice went something like this. Your first problem is you've got to get out of this shop and look at the people. Find out what they like, find out what they want, visit other stores to see how they do it, and come back here and decide if you can't do it better, different, or cheaper. Forget the whole thing and go back to writing radio scripts. You have to mingle with the crowds, talk to the people, and listen to the crazies. And remember, you're not the first merchant with problems. Think about those guys who survived the 1906 earthquake and fire. Got back up, took a deep breath of smoke and ash, and got on with it. And so, I became an involuntary tourist and learned about people, places, and things almost no visitor ever sees or even hears about. JP was right on. And while my store was probably no better than the others in town, it certainly was different and cheaper. Fellow at the Bank of America one day described it as a supermarket for the mind. JP added, True, and besides, you fit psyches, not sizes. Thanks to my excursions into the past, the present, and now the future, the store not only outlasted the doomsayers, the experience of running it enabled me to become a San Franciscan, a resident tourist who has visited the past, the present, and now finds the future suddenly the present. And the longer you study it, the more you are aware that San Francisco is one hell of a town, with a spirit found sometimes in legends, but everywhere in San Francisco. He's got some big writing. So that was the end of the preface of my grandfather's book, Nowhere Except San Francisco, Memoirs of a Resident Tourist. His name is Tro Harper. And I have time. What time is it? It's almost 3:30. I'm supposed to make my child do kung fu right now. It's hard to be a parent in this parenting days when the parenting doesn't stop. I'm going to have some coffee, take a moment for a sip. I don't know if anybody's commenting because the comments aren't popping up. For whatever reason. Coffee. I don't know that I need an afternoon coffee, but my husband made a fresh pot, so I'm going to be up late, I think. I'll put that down there. Should I read more? I can read another chapter, maybe. Was it a long? Yeah, Cable Car Capers is a longer chapter. Maybe that's one for tomorrow. Or maybe I can read it halfway. Should I just do a chapter a day, maybe? I'm going to look at my other thing here. Been on for 20 minutes. It's a nice amount of time. But I love the old view of San Francisco and the fact that it's not so different from the new view. So my grandfather writing about the way he saw San Francisco, it's very similar to how I think a lot of people come to see it today. It's full of possibility. It's full of magic. I don't know. I started visiting San Francisco early on because my grandfather lived there, and then they moved. But then my cousin lived there on Mission Street above a motorcycle shop, and I went to visit my cousin while I was in college. And then in the 2000s, ended up moving to San Francisco for a while. And then, was in and out of San Francisco for several years myself. And it's changed a lot, but I still think there's this shine to it that not all places have. And I hope that shine continues because, as much as the haves and the have-nots and economic issues have really changed the face of the city, I think it's definitely, I hope that it can either come back from the economic struggles it's up against now with the bifurcation of people, the haves and the have-nots, right? There's interesting aspects. But anyway, okay, I think what I'm going to do is save the next chapter, Cable Car Capers, the SF Cable Railway Thus Far, for tomorrow. And I'll read more. We can read again. I will be back here on Twitter at 3 o'clock tomorrow. I'm going to make this a thing. So if you want to join me for more San Francisco stories from old San Francisco, I will read about the cable car tomorrow. I think that'll be fun. It'll be great. Who are we going to meet? What old San Franciscans will we meet tomorrow? So many. Okay, so thank you for joining me today. I don't know how many of you have been in or out or listened, but I do hope that you will join me again tomorrow for more San Francisco story time as we make this a chapter a day, episodic living, a life in San Francisco, according to my grandfather. I guess that's it. Because I don't see any comments in the commenting side, so I don't know if that's because nobody's commenting. I'm going to have to check on the app. See if there's been... Anyway, I can... Oh, there is a Decremet. Hello, Decremet. Good evening. I have been having a good one. It has been a good day so far. I'm going to go take care of some things and stuff. My child... I hope you are having a good one too, wherever you are. Are you having a good one? I am having a good one. Is a good one. It's a good one. All right, so this thing's working. It's on. I think. Oh, there we go. Someone. Bellarge Paul. Hello. Oh, from California. Awesome. Hello, hello. Hello in California. Yes, I know the marked. I know. So I'm going to continue reading tomorrow, but we can sit and chat for a minute. My child is going to be late for Kung Fu. You know what's really funny is trying to make your child be on time to things where you don't have to leave your house to attend them. All right, Paul. Hello. What part of California are you from? Are you from the Bay Area or the more southern reaches? Which area? Do you know of the San Francisco? The tales of the great city? It's fun to do live here. Yeah, people come in and out. Thanks for making your comments. You know, every once in a while, I think to myself, I'm like, I need glasses. And then I'm like, no, I don't need glasses. But I find myself, my eyes are a little bit less reliable than they used to be. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hi, Goldizator, you're late. I want to read comments from people. I don't know how to make that happen. It isn't working the way that I want it to, but that's okay. One thing I do need to do is sit down with my son and record something for Crazy Aunt Lindsay. I know she's out there, and I was going to do something for her daytime daycare for this week, and I need to record that. So maybe that's what I need to do this afternoon. Yeah, Goldizator. Now hold it way over there, and then I'll be able to read it, right? Like, it depends on the time of day. Seriously. Sometimes I'm like, I can get here, and other times I'm like, what? Seriously. Not consistent. My eyes are not predictable anymore. This is the problem. Yeah. Okay. Well, that was fun. We'll keep reading throughout the week, doing some San Francisco story time. You can go back and watch the video and the recording of the reading from today if that's something that interests you. It's going to be, on the internet forever now. Yeah, maybe I'll put this on YouTube too. Might be a good idea. I could put it on Facebook. I could put it on YouTube, all the different places. But I'm just doing it live for you Twitter people. Is that Twitter pating? Yes. I'm excited about reading about the cable cars tomorrow. I love the cable cars of San Francisco. So I hope you all are having a wonderful, good day. I'm going to get caffeinated and stay up too late and then not be able to sleep well and have intense dreams. And then it'll be the next day and we'll rinse and repeat. Yes? Yes. Okay. I hope you all would like to come see This Week in Science. This Week in Science, live tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Pacific time. We're on YouTube, twist.org/live, and we talked about science. But this is my special story time that we will continue with. So have a wonderful day, everybody. Have a wonderful night, wherever you are. Thank you for joining me for a little bit of live Twitter talk. Little story time. I'm going to go over here, turn it off right now. I need some, exit music. Ending broadcast.